thousands of people despise Mario Sunshine, but I've never gotten the hate. It's got Mario in it, great music, but I will say the amount of dancing in this one is really weird. Oh, that's Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. My bad. This is Mario Sunshine. But just by looking at it, I still don't get the hate. It's got Super Mario, a Sunshine. What could possibly be so bad as to make people hate this game so much? Oh my god! The year is 2001. I wasn't alive, Shrek just came out, and Nintendo just released a freaking lunchbox as their gaming console. The GameCube was home to lots of experimentation. What if Luigi was in a haunted mansion? What if Metroid became a 3D shooter? What if F-Zero actually got a game? And right along with this new experimental game console was, of course, a 3D Mario. Now each 3D Mario has something distinct that sets it apart from the others. Mario 64 basically invented 3D platforming. Galaxy has gravity and a spin move. Odyssey has Cappy, which allows for insane tricks and stunts. And then there's Mario Sunshine. Mamma mia.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Now after 64 came out and did a little thing called revolutionize the entirety of 3D gaming as we know it, Sunshine had some pretty big shoes to fill. Not only had to be a good sequel, but a sequel to one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time, No Pressure. So with huge burdens on their backs and anticipation for a new mainline Mario on the world's most technically advanced console, Nintendo did something bold. Rushed the game out well before it was ready because GameCube sales were low. Yeah, Mario Sunshine is the black sheep out of the entire 3D Mario lineup due to many different factors. Regardless of the rush this game went through, Sunshine as a concept is a big bold step after 64. It's unapologetically freaking weird. Gone are the levels with different biomes. Say hello to a beach, tropical beach, super tropical beach, and hell. Here at Isle Delfino, you'll meet some crazy wacky characters and a crooked justice system. Ever wanted to hear Bowser speak? God almighty me neither, but here it is. Visual style? Hope you like bright burning colors and saturation because they took that slider and sent it to the moon. Shoot, you can feel that burning sun through the screen. Hey, it's like the real thing. Oh my god. And the plot for this game is just as bonkers. Now we've come to predict these Mario plots fairly well by now. Mario 64 starts off with Peach being captured by Bowser and our job is to rescue her. Mario Galaxy, Peach captured by Bowser, we rescue her. Odyssey, Peach captured by Bowser, we rescue her. So it's no surprise that Mario Sunshine starts with, you guessed it, Mario being framed for vandalism. What? That's right, the theme for this Mario game is community service. You're given FLUDD, a little water jetpack / squirt gun, and told to clean up the goop off the floor or go to jail. And right away, you're dropped into the main hub world Delfino Plaza, and man, I dig this place. Now I know some people would have preferred another hub world like Peach's Castle, but I think Delfino Plaza is perfect for Sunshine in its gameplay. It's wide open with tall buildings and long vertical jumps that jive really well with how FLUDD works. You can run, jump around, master your movement, stop a guy from burning alive, and get the hang of FLUDD all while having some fun going level to level. And hey, for once Peach is here. In all the other games, she's just a damsel in distress, getting captured all the time. But in Sunshine, she's girl bossing her way all around town. And you can go up and talk with her and she gets captured. But hey, it's just a weird boss fight where you squirt Shadow Mario bit to save her, then she's back in the town talking it up and she gets captured. Now I was a few missions in at this point and I was really confused because my entire life I've heard of the war crimes of Sunshine, the treacherous Poison River, the soul-crushing red coins in Rico Harbor, Bowser's voice, Mario! But so far, it seems like just another normal fun Mario game. A tutorial showing you the ropes, getting used to the controls, a wacky new character to connect to, a great area to explore, hop around and get used to the movement, and then finally easing you into a safe, cozy, friendly first level. There's some great music, and all feels fair and fun to play. And for a while, I thought Sunshine was yet just another fun, easy, whimsical 3D Mario experience. I was wrong. I don't know what happened to the developers halfway through making this game, what drugs they took, or what emotional distress they were going through, but after the first few levels, this game turns from a mildly difficult platformer into f***ing Dark Souls. This is not an exaggeration. These secret levels start from difficult but doable with some practice to what? See, with these secret levels, FLUDD is taken away from you, leaving you naked and afraid. And without FLUDD, the movement is on full display here, and it ain't pretty. See, Mario games are known for their movement. It's their thing. The separation between them and other 3D platformers. So in the very core of the game is this freaking annoying It brings the entire experience down as a whole. It's clear that Mario's base movements without FLUDD were not cooked long enough in the oven, so it's mind-boggling why they even take FLUDD away from you in the first place. I don't know if the game engine is just super finicky, but Mario's movements feel way off in this game, wherein literally every other Mario game turns are smooth and flow well with each other. Sunshine snaps from move to move the frame you input it. But hot take, I don't think that's entirely a bad thing. Sure, if the movements were this sensitive in every other Mario game, I wouldn't care for it as much, but playing Sunshine for the first time recently, the hyper touchy and sensitive movements set it apart from the rest of the games, in good ways and in bad ways. In games like Odyssey, moves are much smoother, with frames in between inputs, so if you try to spin in a circle, it'll take much more time than Sunshine. So by the time you turn around in Odyssey, in Sunshine, Mario's already spin jumped and fallen off the ledge. The ultra fast inputs allow for really quick fun gameplay, with cool tricks you can pull off in the main levels. But in these secret levels, the frame perfect platforming feels way more unfair without FLUDD. In the main courses, if you go for a certain move, but the game doesn't quite register it, or if you didn't hit the button in time, you just correct yourself with FLUDD. But in these secret levels, you have to have precise movements and 100% precision, or you're getting boned, resulting in a whole lot of unfair feeling deaths. Deaths, mind you, that send you back to the very beginning of the entire level. Checkpoints? Sunshine's never heard of them. And get this, a game over will kick you all the way back to Delfino Plaza, so if you were like me with 3 lives max going into these, you would meticulously jump platform to platform with perfect timing, studying the twists and turns these blocks made, premeditating every single move. You finally get to the end of the level with the shine ever so in sight, and then you overcorrect once and no! Now, I don't think I'm bad at games, but my goodness, this game made me question that. I mean this with full sincerity when I say I felt more accomplishment and sheer relief beating some of these secret levels than beating most Dark Souls bosses. The music from these levels are now seared into my brain and instantly activates my fight or flight response. And what sucks is the first few secret levels are actually pretty fun. One in Bianco Hills is daunting at first, but with proper timing and jumps, you can get through it in no time. But these things quickly go from 30-second platforming challenges to 5-minute medical procedures. And these levels are all the more hernia-inducing when it feels like Mario's moveset is actively working against you. Take the side jump for instance. This is my favorite move in the main levels. You just turn in the opposite direction of where you're standing and you jump super high, which can lead to a wall jump or FLUDD, and it's really useful in keeping your momentum going. But the way you pull off this move is by moving the stick opposite to where you're standing, which gives you a half-second or so window to where if you jump, the move plays out. So if you're wanting to turn around quickly and jump without side jumping, tough titties because it side jumps no matter what. And in the main levels, it's all fine and dandy. If you side jump by accident, you just whip out FLUDD and get to where you need to go. But in these secret levels without FLUDD, where a single misinput throws you all the way back to the start, you've gotten all that way, jump by jump, sweating bricks. You're ever so close to the ending with no lives left. Go to get some extra room to secure a jump. As you go, you side jump by accident and have to start the entire thing over again. This got me more than once. So much so that I actually learned that if I was on a ledge and needed some extra running distance before a jump, I have to do these weird half-circle runs to keep my momentum going as to not trigger this stupid side jump. When you have the cruelest level design paired with the by far worst movement of any 3D Mario game, it is a vicious recipe for a pain in my loins. Although each main level area is really well made with great level design, you can tell they didn't quite have enough time to implement the best missions to utilize each map. Instead of having actual missions with quests that would take up additional resources, we're just thrown into a void with moving blocks and told to get past it using nothing more than sheer anger. These levels ultimately feel really cheap as main content, and are sometimes super lazily implemented. You can see where the developers probably had to stop what actual level they were working on and say, yep, we don't have time to finish this, just teleport them to a secret level. At least in every other Mario game, even 64, if you didn't like a star, you could just skip it in favor of another one. But not here, you get to do every single one of these secret levels. Have fun, but do these levels just ruin the game? Absolutely not. See, despite my insufferable complaining, I actually find these levels somewhat endearing. Somewhat. You can kind of master the cheese elements of Mario's moveset, and it literally turns into a Dark Souls situation where you have to die to learn how to beat the level. Miss a jump here? Go back and land it properly. Suck at the triple jump into a wall jump dive to a platform? Well, too freaking bad, get cracking because it's the only way up this part. This game is so unforgivably difficult that I can't help but to love it. And hate it. Now, as a kid, I'm sure I would have hated this game, but as a macho man who can take care of myself, well, I'm not too bad at Super Mario Sunshine. But enough about these secret levels. How are the other missions? The meat of the game that contain FLUDD and can't be nearly as scuffed since they can't take it away from you again, right? Well, the best way I can describe the other missions is a coin toss. If you flip heads, then hey, you get a really cool objective that tests your platforming skills and rewards mastery of movement with FLUDD. You flip tails and you get the Goopy Inferno. This level takes away FLUDD. Again. And forces you underneath the map onto these rails. Welcome to hell. One wrong move, you're dead. Hit a bug, dead. Wait on the rail too long, dead. Mix up the jump button and pound button because it doesn't freaking tell you on the control screen, dead. This level took me not 5, not 10, not 15, but 35 minutes to complete.
The horror.
But for every dear Lord Almighty, please help me, this sucks Goopy Inferno map, there are a lot of fun missions along the way. And sure, most all missions have a good deal of that Mario Sunshine jank, but after a while, the jank becomes charming. I could word that better. The part of Sunshine that seems to have escaped the rush and crunch are the actual levels themselves. Every single one of these are super well made. Well, most of them. The platforming and challenges are really diverse level to level. Rico Harbor is more vertical, with high jumps and far-off scaffolding. Gelato Beach is more open, which allows for fast traversal and an interesting boss fight. And there's a hotel! I think my favorite aspect of all the levels is how they use Isle Delfino itself. Sure, it's true that all the levels are within a tropical island theme, but each location is vastly different from the other. There's your sandy beach, an amusement park, and yeah, a hotel, but it's actually a pretty cool idea. With some crankin' music that gets you all primed up to spend 15 minutes spraying a star. But hey, once you finally get it, you're teleported to a secret level. Yay. But it's not just that each level is visually distinct from the other. My favorite detail within this game is that it's all one connected island. You can see different levels far off in the distance, and it really feels like you're on this big island, going place to place, which is all the more confusing why these even exist. Although the missions themselves might be a coin flip, where this game really excels is the boss battles. You can tell they really stepped up the effort compared to 64. Where 64 was punch a hand in the eye, get a star, Sunshine has a lot more complex bosses that aren't overly difficult to beat, but unique enough to feel like a challenge. Clean an eel's teeth, ground pound a wiggler, rip a blooper's arms out, waterboard Petey Piranha. The amount of unprovoked animal cruelty in this game has me wondering if Mario's even the good guy here. Wait, what was the name of this level again? So be it. Where, yeah, the occasional boss is just a big old stinker that makes you rely solely on RNG, the rest of the bosses and other non-jank levels are what make this game really shine. Really sunshine. I'll go. And although the movement has its problems, the level design is so inspired and interesting that regardless of the issues, it's a blast to run around and explore. Having FLUDD allowed for some crazy fun level design with super high vertical jumps and long spaces between platforms. Now I have my problem with the concept of FLUDD as a whole, but the way it's implemented is just about the best way it could have been. You could do some crazy stuff with FLUDD. Squirt some water on the ground to get a speed boost, get some extra distance in the air, course correct the move. That's it. Now FLUDD does have other specific uses like spraying objects, using the force to move yourself poorly, but those don't have to do with your core moveset. When it comes to Mario's movement as a whole, FLUDD is really just a crutch, not an enhancement, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's more of a sidestep from 64 than an actual step forward. If you're out jumping around, twirling, wall jumping, and need to use FLUDD to get to a platform, all that momentum you built up is immediately stopped as you come to a halt midair and get to your platform. FLUDD is fun for some sections, but compared to an enhancement like Cappy that is complementary to your moves and shoot, cleans up goop even better than FLUDD does, it just shows the flaws in having an addition like FLUDD. But although FLUDD has its issues, a lot of issues, the good way outweighs the bad here because I found myself having a whole lot of fun with FLUDD. But although I do think FLUDD is fun, the downsides to its inclusion are pretty apparent to see. For example, some moves from 64 are completely removed. The backwards long jump is actually still a thing, it's just completely useless. But the regular long jump, you know, the most useful move in 64, good riddance. Instead of a huge momentum starter to get distance, you can now just water pack slowly. And then there's the twirl jump, and this is by far the most messed up. There is no animation showing you that the move is ready to go, so you're just awkwardly twiddling your sticks as Mario has a full-blown seizure and hoping he'll spin jump. Sometimes he does, and sometimes you die.
Super Mario Sunshine has the perfect spin jump, and it often goes underappreciated.
Overall, Sunshine's moveset is fine enough, but compared to all the other Mario games, it just really isn't up to snuff. But yeah, the levels are great, the missions are hit or miss, and the moveset is a solid okay. But throughout my tenure of being chronically online, there's always one thing I always heard Sunshine was lambasted for. A little shiny thing called blue coins. I understand this is one of those things that people loathe. It's objective. Mario Sunshine and blue coins. They suck, right? I didn't hate them. Past tense. See, I never got the hate train when hearing about this game. What's wrong with extra collectibles you aren't forced to collect? Sure, people who 100% the game might dislike them, but who cares what they think? They literally make games worse for fun. So for my first few hours of Sunshine, I actually enjoyed picking these little blue guys up. Spray some paint, blue coin. Do a cool jump, blue coin. I actually really enjoyed the little 10-second challenges you do to get these coins. Until they didn't take 10 seconds anymore. See, Sunshine is an old game. With older games, they don't spell everything out for you like nowadays. You basically have to F around to find your next move. So after the roller coaster boss fight, I was told Peach was taking a Corona Mountain, and then the game pissed off. So I had to find out where to go, and that's fine. I implore the challenge. So I went asking around citizen to citizen to maybe get a hint on where to go. I talk to this guy, get a shine. Talk to this guy, he racially profiles me. No clues yet. Then I see this lady right next to the mountain, and I'm sure she has a hint on how to get up there. When I talk to her, she says I have to gather 3 pineapples. Seems easy enough. Wrong. I fought for my life to get these sad excuses for fruit over to this lady, and 9 times out of 10, when I finally hauled its spiky butt over to the basket, I couldn't throw it in properly, and it would despawn, so I had to go back. Grab another one, bring it over, throw it, miss it, grab another one, and 10 minutes of back-breaking work later, I finally get it. You know what she gives me in return? Not a hint on the next level, not even a shine. She gives me a fucking blue coin. I understand the hate. Besides the disgustingly hard blue coins, most of these are fun to pick up when you see them. They're usually easy to find and go to a little counter that you see throughout the entire game. So what are they used for? Extra shines, extra unlockables, maybe even lives? Nothing. See, I picked these up throughout the game assuming they'd be worth something in the end. They're not. I actually can turn in 10 blue coins for a shine, but you don't need to. As long as you get one other extra shine in the game, you can unlock the final level, and these turn useless. I'd assume these coins and their underwhelming inclusion were one of the many casualties in this game getting rushed beyond all belief. After I realized that blue coins were nothing more than ooh pretty, I just skipped them and focused on getting the main collectibles around Delfino Plaza. Because the main collectible has to be more valuable than blue coins, right? As you go throughout the game, you aren't really given much direction beyond go get shines, slave, so I kinda just ran around getting as many shines as I could with no other hints. Shoot, I didn't even find the final level until the very end of the game. So throughout Delfino Plaza, I would hear the occasional shine sprite and do whatever task, be it from entertaining to borderline psych ward inducing to get it. All the while thinking the entire time it'll be worth it in the end when I inevitably have a shine count barrier I have to reach to get to the end of the game, like every other Mario game. But nope, ignore all the side activities or extra shines. You don't need any of them. That's right, all the extra stuff is a big fat nothing burger. Just get the 7th shine from every level to unlock the final level. Once I figured this out, aka looked it up because I did not know how to end this game, I was just overswept with a huge feeling of... I just went to literal hell and back, thinking these were useful or needed in any sort of way, but nope. Besides the 7 shines from each level, you have 0 incentive to collect any additional anything. Why would I want to? Besides the drive to finish the game, I do not want to risk whatever flip of the coin, fun, or horrifying levels come after these 7 shines. Sorry game, but I'll only let my integrity sink so low. What's funny is you'd think the 7th shine of each level would be the hardest one, pulling together all the skills you learned throughout the past 6 missions, making all those terrible RNG and BS platforming sections look like a piece of cake. And when you finally enter that 7th level, you scored Shadow Mario a bit and boom, a shine. I'm assuming these missions were scraped together to add some finality to each level, but after the soul-searching journey of Goopy Inferno or the test of discipline and self-control of the Poison River, it's really anticlimactic when all 6 missions build up to an intense final battle against Shadow Mario, all for it to be a squirt gun fight. Oh man, what type of sick boss fight is this?
It's all led up to this. You know how rich my dad is? You know how hard this boss is gonna... Oh my god!
At the end of the game, I was so exhausted from these secret levels or the anticlimactic Shadow Mario boss fights that I just wanted to end the game. So when I finally got all 7 shines from all 7 levels, I was ready. The final level, Corona Mountain, was unlocked. Now before playing this game, I've heard of the horrors of Corona Mountain, and I was foolish enough to think my mental fortitude was strong enough for this level. I see Shadow Mario run into the mountain. I was ready. No matter what challenge lay in front of me, through nothing short of pure will and divine intervention would I get through this. And all I had to do was take my first jump. Corona Mountain sucks! You thought the secret levels were bad. You thought the River of Death was bad. You ain't seen nothing yet. Corona Mountain houses the worst, most scuffed area in the entire game, and boy is that saying something. It's only fitting that this is the very end. After some honestly not too bad platforming, you get to this test of patience. You have to control a boat by spraying your water in the opposite direction you want to go, and it does not work. Not that every once in a while it's slightly off. I mean, you spray in one direction and the boat moves with it. Try and try again. I could not get this to work. But I finally got far enough to where I thought I was at a safe spot to refill my water, thinking I could finally take a breather. Psych! If the boat touches anything, even the sprinklers, the boat pieces out and you get to do the entire thing over again. I have never been more nervous and precise with my movements. And after a grueling amount of tries, fails, therapy sessions, finally did it. I got past the boat section. As I scaled the mountain, I could only imagine what horrors beyond my comprehension laid in front of me. What sick, sadistic boss fight was I gonna have to spend 45 minutes, my sanity, and a bottle of whiskey on? My anxiety rose with my ascent. Images of all the painful levels came flooding back. The game over sound blaring in my ears. I only had one life left. If I died, it would for sure put me back at the beginning. I couldn't do it again. I'm not strong enough. A single tear wept down my face as I contemplated the pain I would have to endure all over again and again. I wasn't sure I could do this anymore. I could just end it here and pull footage from YouTube. No, I'm better than that. I'm a man. And men finish 3D Mario games. I kept going, pushing on, carefully planning out my rocket jumps. I finally crested the top of the mountain, saw Bowser sitting in that hot tub, and was ready for the boss battle of a lifetime. And ground pounded 8 blocks and the game ended. What? And I honestly can't say I was too upset that it was the easiest underwhelming fight of all time. I simply did not have the energy to redo Corona Mountain all over again. It seems that whatever time constraints were placed on this game just made it so the developers stretched the runtime not by making engaging and fun levels, but by making it hard as balls. But despite all the negatives and complaining, I can say I do like this game. Mario Sunshine feels like a product of its time. 64 was the first one, so it gets a break. But even with being the first one, it's still a great, charming game that feels right at home. Galaxy is a masterpiece that has only ever gotten better the more times I've played it, and Odyssey is as close to perfect as perfect gets. But Sunshine? Sunshine was made in 2002. And yep, it feels like it. Right around this time was the peak of the 3D platformer genre, and although Sunshine is leagues better than its contemporaries, I can't help but feel this was the least Mario of all the Mario games. Corners are obviously cut, challenges are freaking hard and vague, and I love it. I do not see myself revisiting Sunshine as much in the future as I do the other mainline Marios due to, I don't know, half the levels giving me a hernia, but the time I had with Sunshine I very much enjoyed. It's nice to have a Mario game so happy at making you so angry. And shoot, Mario Galaxy would not have been possible if it wasn't for Sunshine setting most of the foundation. So despite all of Sunshine's flaws and the emotional trauma it left me with, I can firmly say that this game is not the worst, most disappointing game of all time that's ruined by blue coins, scuffed movement, and unfair levels. Mario Sunshine is bold, it's creative, it's ambitious, and it's mediocre at best.